great sex is satisfying. Okay. I see a lot of snickers already happening. Great sex is satisfying. Let me read this scripture to you. Solomon, like Pastor said a few weeks ago, was a bad dude. This is what the lady writes. His left hand is under my head, and his right hand embraces me. I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles or by the does of the field, do not stir, nor awaken love until it pleases. Who's heard this passage of Scripture before? Who's heard it before? Everybody's heard it before. Y'all heard Michael Jackson and Barry Gibb say, "Don't stop till you get enough"? It was a paraphrase. That's what this is saying. It's saying that He's got me in His arms, and we don't need to stop this until it's done. It doesn't matter what else happens or goes on around us. This is what we are committed to. Great sex is satisfying. Like Pastor said last week, and that he wouldn't go into a whole lot of detail for everybody that's involved. Great sex focuses on the satisfaction of both parties, of you and your partner. One of the great things that we get to have in this life with having someone who's dedicated to us, who's agreed to be with you forever. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the funny things. People come in, think they're thinking something wrong. They think that anytime that they question their relationship, or they wonder if they made the right decision, or something bad's happening, or if that means they should leave, or something like that, that's one of the funniest things ever, because honestly, everybody's going to think that way. You start to sign a lease for an apartment that costs $500 a month, and you're only in it for a year, and you're shaking. Oh Lord, am I making the right decision? I don't know. Should I keep looking? There's a neighborhood down the street that might be better. Who's ever felt anxiety buying something, right? You're doing that. Here you are giving the rest of your life to a person, and you think that when things go rocky or when things get difficult, you never wonder what's going to happen. That's completely absurd. Everybody, or from time to time, will have times when they think, man, I wonder what happened. Man, I wonder what happened. Man, I wonder how this happened. What would have happened if I had done this? Everybody's going to have thoughts like that. The difference is being at the point in your relationship where when those kind of things are plaguing one person in that relationship, the other person is willing to step up. The other person is saying, look, I'm here for you. Where your life is so incredibly satisfying, at the end of the day, whenever you think that, you're like, man, that was stupid. That was just silly talk. I was just thinking about something I shouldn't have been for a minute, because your life is so enriched by that partner. If we take care of each other, that's the beautiful thing. We don't have to worry about ourselves. Right? Y'all came in here this morning. Many of you came through that door. There was most likely somebody standing there who gave you a program. When you start to leave, there'll be somebody standing there with a basket and a bunch of Easter eggs that we need you guys to take. Take them home, stuff them up, bring them back. But there'll be somebody standing there to give you those. There was somebody who worked on typing this up during the week. There was somebody who wrote a sermon. There was a band that prepared music. There were people who got here early this morning and baked cookies. And the good news is, you get to experience it all, and you only have to do a little part of it. Right? We get to enjoy the whole thing together, and we only have to do a little part of it. Why? Because if you take care of me, I take care of you. That's the way church is, and God gave us marriage as an example of the way He takes care of His people. Our marriage relationship is supposed to be a reflection of what God is doing now in Him and in the church. So, when we have a married life, the great thing is, when we have a relationship, when we have a partner, when we have someone who said, I do for forever, the satisfaction that we're reaching for, the kind of life that we're longing for, the kind of life that is available to us, is only possible when you stop taking care of yourself and start taking care of your partner. Great sex is satisfying. You will be satisfied because your partner will make sure you are. Lastly, great sex is edifying. Let's talk about what that means. Great sex is edifying. You know, there's a lot of things available today for people to look at. A lot of different whatever music to listen to. Some of it's pretty silly, by the way. If you ever listen to the music on the top 40 stations, some of that junk is hilarious. Don't listen to it hoping to be enriched, because it is definitely not going to do you that. My wife got a car this week that has a Sirius satellite radio in it. And I've been listening to some of that junk. That is ridiculous stuff, man. There's some really stupid junk out there that people get paid a lot of money to say. I don't understand it, but whatever. It's funny. But a lot of the imagery in music, a lot of the imagery in TV, a lot of the things going on around us, because they're so much about consumption, because they're so much about using, because they're so much about taking, they end up being about tearing down. They end up being about humiliating. They end up being about making a person feel less for you to feel more. Making a person feel lower for you to feel higher. Making a person feel down for you to rise up. Great sex isn't like that at all. Great sex is not demeaning. Great sex is not in any way something that tears people down or makes them feel ashamed or embarrassed. You know, everybody knows what the walk of shame is, right? What the walk of shame is. Some of y'all who went to college, high school, middle school, whatever, y'all know the walk of shame. The walk of shame, somebody leaving after a night of mistake, they knew they shouldn't have done it. Sex, great sex that God created for us never involves shame, never involves any of that. It only involves edifying your partner. What's edifying mean? It means building them up, celebrating who they are, letting them know how important they are to you, letting them know exactly what it is, glory be to God, that they mean to you. Not ever letting them wonder, was one of the points last week, whether or not they mean something to you, whether or not it's important, whether or not it's what you want it to be, whether or not they're a wonderful person. Great sex is about taking that person and letting them feel special, letting them feel honored, putting them in their rightful place, which is the center of your life. They're so important to you that without them, you don't know what you would do. Great sex is about building up your partner. And if you do that, you will share a kind of fire that many people never see.